not sure what I just saw.
That's the best way to start a show.
Okay. Well, Josh, before we get started, I got to talk about In-N-Out for a minute. I had In-N-Out today. We Californians, we enjoy our In-N-Out.
And Arizona.
I'm not arguing it's the best hamburger in the world, but for $5 or under, it is the best hamburger. And I had my $5 or under lunch. But I asked for my French fries to be well done. And then I said to the person, this is the drive-thru. I said, can I just have a bunch of mustard put on top of it, please? Just put a bunch of mustard.
Nope.
That'd be great. And she's like, mustard on top? I'm like, yeah, just put some mustard on top. I want some mustard. And she's like, oh, okay. So I go up to the window, and they give me my fries, and there's just a bunch of mustard packets over the top of the fries.
Yep.
Like, I think you missed the
That's the problem when you pay $5 or under.
All right, so on with the news. We want to start with some Sony news, some PlayStation.
Oh, wait, did you eat the mustard packets? Or?
Yeah, just straight through the packets. I just bit down on them, and mustard flew everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
Okay, so some Sony news here. There's a patent been filed recently that NeoGAF reports by Sony for a handheld, which everybody's surprised by because the Vita was not the greatest success and pretty much feels like if the failure of the Vita felt like it was going to be guaranteed that there'd be no more handhelds from Sony. Even though the Vita itself is a very fine device, as a piece of hardware, it's awesome, but it just didn't sell well. And but this new patent, the image is kind of ugly, but it looks like a tablet. Yeah, you see right there? Imagine splitting a PS4 controller in half and sticking a whole tablet in between it. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, sure, why not?
The design
can't be any worse than the Switch.
And because of the Switch, people are theorizing that maybe the controllers come off the sides just like it would with the Switch. Obviously, it does look like sort of like Sony's being like, look at that Switch idea. Let's throw a PlayStation logo on it.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Which, honestly, I find that anytime that PlayStation copies Nintendo, they do it better.
There it is. Found the picture.
Oh, cool. Yeah, you see, look at that thing. So, anyway, but here's the real news here. This is just a patent. Often patents get filed that go nowhere with companies.
Right.
But this is, I would say this is the real news. The real news isn't that Sony has filed this patent. The real news isn't that it looks like suspiciously like the Nintendo Switch idea. The real news here is that Sony's thinking about handhelds. That they haven't just dropped the whole idea of a handheld because of the failure of the Vita.
Well, what was the one that the predecessor to the Vita?
PSP?
Yeah,
PSP.
So I got the PSP in 2004.
Yeah.
Right? So I would have been in 9th grade. And that was an excellent device.
Actually, it pretty much. I don't want to say it started, but it propelled the homebrew movement, which later would become the indie movement for video games.
It was awesome because you could hack that thing and you could go on the internet. Like it was, I loved that
because
thing,
because it was hackable. People could make their own PSP games that were not pressed through Sony. So that's what the homebrew was. It's when you make your own games for consoles. And at the time PC before indie became a thing, which is exactly what that is.
Well, so it stands to reason though. So they're 1 out of 2, right? If the Vita was trash and the PSP was rad, they haven't had any other handhelds beside that, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and so maybe this third one could be a little bit of the PSP.
There is one maybe asterisk there. They came out with Sony Ericsson came out with a phone.
I remember Sony Ericsson.
That was the same design as the PSP Go.
Yeah.
So I don't remember the PSP Go is one of the final iterations of it. Instead of having the buttons on the side, the screen slipped up.
Yeah.
And there's buttons underneath.
Yeah.
Then they made a phone version of that. So maybe that's sort of a third thing. It failed as well, but they were trying to sell as a cell phone in cell phone, stores or whatever. So that was probably just not the right thing for Sony to do anyway.
Cross.
Yeah. So that's kind of cool. I mean, what do you think about maybe another handheld coming out from a non-Nintendo console or Nintendo company?
I love Sony. So I mean, I would try. I would if it was. What do you think the cost is going to be? $299.
I mean, I can't imagine you can release any sort of handheld outside of a cell phone itself for more than $299.
Yeah.
Because people just have a mental block, right? You go over $299 and people are just like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
For me, it needs to come down to $199. Really, for me to think of a handheld,
right? Yeah, because at $299, you might as well just go buy a new
console
full system. Yeah. I mean, I'm excited. I'm excited about it because I think it could be really good. Because when Sony hits it, it's out of the park, right?
Right. And also, Sony's really good at with the PS4 and with the PlayStation 3 and with the Vita, they brought a lot of really great Steam style games to their consoles, and it was just nice to have, like your Devolver Digital games, your and various like smaller publisher and non-publisher indies on this handheld, to play. Like playing Hotline Miami on a Vita is a lot of fun, or playing like Enter the Gungeon on a Vita is a lot of fun.
And it feels a lot more appropriate to me. Like, I don't know, I guess I'm
the games are too big to play on a big screen, or they're too small to play on a big screen.
It feels that way,
right?
And plus, even I don't know, for me, whatever, just the graphics difference. Like, I always want my consoles to just be pushing the line,
cutting
of,
edge,
like what they can do,
right?
And I'm willing to pay for that. But when it's something like that it can fit in my hand and it feels mobile means less quality to me, just for whatever reason. In the graphics specifically, like storyline is great, gameplay can be good. I had a really fun Dragon Ball Z game for one of the Game Boy things, and man, I loved playing it, but I don't expect the graphics to be as good, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah. You Hearthstone fans, be excited.
Yeah.
Because Blizzard has announced that there's going to be 3 expansions, 3 new decks added in 2017, each one coming with 130 cards and single-player missions, you might say, single-player campaigns that add narrative to what the decks are adding. Of course, I've never been a Hearthstone player, but I want to report on this news because a lot of people do like Hearthstone. My understanding is you don't just buy the new deck; you have to actually purchase you have to purchase like booster packs, essentially. Just like when you'd go, like, if Magic the Gathering comes out with a new deck, you can't just buy all of the new Magic the Gathering deck. You have to buy the packages and hope randomly you get the cards you want. So it works that way with Hearthstone as well.
Yes,
so you can't just buy like the 130 deck, is my understanding. You have to purchase like electronic booster packs.
And I like the chance element of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think also, it's an excuse.
That was my favorite thing about opening Pokemon.
It does 2 things that are genius business-wise. It gives people the excitement factor of what am I going to get, but at the same time, it's an excuse to resell them the same cards 100 times.
Yeah, it's a disappointment factor too.
Yeah, it's justified disappointment.
Yeah.
Right? It's pretty amazing, actually.
Yeah, and if I do it again, maybe I'll actually get the better card this time.
Right. What do you got over here on the mobile news?
All right, so this is my favorite
and
thing
that was
so far.
mobile news. No, okay, go ahead.
So this is super important. All right, so the biggest game that took the world by storm last year from the mobile industry would have been what? And actually, you know what? I bet
Clash Royale?
No.
Clash of Clans?
No. Pokemon Go. And was like the big thing, right? So I could actually probably make the argument that Pokemon Go was probably the biggest game of the year last year. Even bigger than all of the other games. And it was a slow year for gaming. Check out our 2016 in review if you want to find out how much
it wasn't a great year. That's true.
2016 games. So I could make the argument that Pokemon Go is probably the biggest game that came out as far as generated buzz and excitement.
Not for gamers, but for the rest of the world.
Yeah, for everybody that matters. So what was super interesting to me though was that Supercell is this Finland-based company that is responsible for Clash of Clans, right? And Clash of Clans.
Aren't they also a villain on DBZ?
Yeah, well played. So Supercell came out March 2nd of 2016, and it announced in their on the 15th of February that they had already surpassed the $1 billion mark. That game had generated that much revenue. It wasn't even out for Android for 6 months there. And even so, without that huge share of the market, Android is a huge representation of the mobile gaming world, and it still has eclipsed the $1 billion.
I feel like the real lesson here is charities need to learn to just make cell phone games.
Yeah. Well, I mean, make freemium games, and then right. Have you seen that South Park with
so good.
Canada's freemium game? And okay, so Supercell made a total of $2.3 billion in revenue last year. So they have like a farm game. Right,
Stan gave all of our savings to Canada.
They have Clash of Clans. So here's what's interesting, though. Clash of Clans itself, which is really like the launcher, right, of Supercell in 2012, only grossed $200 million its first year. So I think what is interesting is Clash Royale maintains its position. It was the top earner in 2016, above Pokemon Go, which also actually generated over $1 billion in its first year. But what I think is just interesting for myself is the idea that they have continued to find a corner in the market and reinvent itself over and over. Because what's the plus and the negative of Pokemon Go is that, right, it took off. Chris, when we were playing, how many miles a day were we walking the most?
Too many.
Probably like 10 miles a day.
Yeah.
We'd walk. But it fell off a cliff, man. It just, after it had peaked at like 250 million users or something astronomically ridiculous 3 weeks after its release date.
Yeah.
And then by the time, September.
No, I
rolled around,
remember
it was
awkwardly standing
250,000.
with you guys a few blocks down from here as you guys tried to collect Pokemon, and I stood there doing nothing.
Yeah. And
I'm like, this is a lot of fun, guys.
well, that's what happens when you normally go on social outings. And so the idea of it, though, it plateaued and then it died super quickly. But Supercell has constantly been climbing and doesn't show any signs of slowing down soon, right? They've got a bunch of new stuff that they're releasing soon. They just did some new updates.
Didn't they
and
do,
patches.
I read something about Gen 2 is being released on Pokemon Go?
Yeah, they already released it.
Something like 80 Gen 2
And
Pokemon?
so this is what's interesting about Pokemon, though, is, right, it kind of borrows from the Nintendo model where it just has so much stuff, from which it can draw instead of a cash flow, right, that Nintendo has. Pokemon has this several generations of crap that it can release. It's really nothing.
They got nostalgia by the balls.
And okay, yeah. So,
they do.
So that's what I don't know. That's all I've got really in the mobile gaming world for this topic. But interested, Supercell still awesome. Clash Royale, super rad. New balance changes are out. Hit me up. I'm on Camaraderie. I'm at Camaraderie.
Is that what?
I'm at Camaraderie. That's my name.
Really? On Twitter?
No. On Supercell. On Clash Royale.
Okay. I was like, you changed it. You didn't tell me.
No. So yeah, I was trying to avoid you.
Okay.
Chris, over to you.
Over to me. I'm not Chris. I'm James. Chris, why don't you go ahead and lead us off with your PC news?
All right, let me dig it up here.
Okay, forget it,
No,
Chris.
I got it.
Okay.
Blizzard has said that if you're still running XP or Vista, well, too bad
Screw
for
you.
you. Yeah. No more support for Diablo 3, Hearthstone, WoW, and more. So this came from PC Gamer. And
If you're still running XP, I understand that. If you're still running Vista, what's wrong with you?
you know what? I had Vista for years and never had a problem with it.
I mean, I liked Vista, but 7 is definitely like the better version of Vista.
Well, and I like 10 well enough, so I know that's controversial.
Yeah. But I guess it's better than 8, though. 8 and 8.1 were just travesties.
I was fine with 8.
No, it tried to make an
Local man was stabbed outside in his yard the other day when
the podcast goes south.
You just make it boot to desktop and ditch the whole Metro thing, and it was
I didn't like how it was an app-based program, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like things a bit. What I like about PC is the programs being a bit more baked in and integrated than like your phone-style app design. So if you've got Vista and XP and you like Blizzard, it's time to upgrade finally, right?
Yep. Go to 7 if you're not convinced on 10.
Yeah, and then 7's probably going to go in a year or so, right? Because that's just the way of things.
They're trying to force everyone to 10, so you might wake up one day and your computer will have updated without telling you.
Yeah, that's true. That 10 fiasco where they tried to force an update was awful.
Yeah.
I hated that. And you had to like live with the commercial on your on your PC for like a year.
Nah, not if you deleted the file.
Yeah, but I mean, you would have to be tech savvy to do that.
Yeah.
That wasn't just like some kind of option you could click. That was a really dirty trick.
It's almost as bad as putting a U2 album on your phone.
so sneaky.
So sneaky. And that's how it became like the best-selling album ever. No. Okay. Any other news in regard to that or anything we should know?
Nope.
Okay.
Just get with the times, folks.
Get with the times. Get with your Windows 10. Is there a new version of Windows around the corner? Or
There's supposed to be another big update coming because I thought there was one coming for Xbox too, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We're not a very good news show.
Yeah, no. We know what we know, and we're not good at what we don't know.
Well, you do the next story. I'll go look that up.
Okay, Final
Does
Fantasy
anyone
VII. Is it Tetsuya Nomura, I believe?
Yeah.
Who?
Yep.
You know this for a fact?
Nope.
I didn't think you did. Yeah, Tetsuya Nomura. He's the games director. Of course, longtime director of Final Fantasies and other things too. He released a few images to just give a taste of where things are at in development, including an image that shows the first boss battle of Final Fantasy VII, which is like the big scorpion guard looking thing. And I have to tell you, as a fan, it looks sick. It looks so cool. Final Fantasy VII Remake. I mean, I got to keep my expectations in check because there's a good chance it's going to release and it's going to be so terrible. But visually speaking, it looks awesome. It looks so good. I hate that it's episodic, but it looks so good.
Meh.
But And also, there's a few little tidbits here. There's it might change before release, but there's a HUD in the one of the screens, and you can see like what the battle system HUD looks like. It's very minimized compared to Final Fantasy VII, especially, but just Final Fantasy in general.
I thought you said hug.
There's a hug
battle
right here.
hugs.
Battle hug. But
Call GameStop and try and pre-order it.
yeah, one of the
Battle hugs.
battle hugs. One of the strange things for those who know Final Fantasy VII is that on the HUD there's both a magic option and a materia option, which makes no sense because magic and materia are the same thing in Final Fantasy VII. So I don't know if that's just something that will get fixed and tweaked before they release it, or if there's some kind of distinction being made in this new version of Final Fantasy VII that wasn't true of the original game. Anyway, what? What, Josh?
We're going.
Don't do this. This is Game Club. We can just do what we want. We just take as much time as we want to explain things that we're fans of. This is my world. My world.
You're right. My apologies.
Okay.
My apologies.
Anyway,
That's all. See ya.
moving on.
So Windows 10 is getting the creator update sometime April, May, June-ish. That's what it is.
Is it to create things?
Paint 3D is coming.
Paint 3D.
Yeah. That could be interesting.
It could be cool. Yeah. I wonder what device you would use to do maybe VR.
Oh.
Ooh, with a wand of some kind. That'd be kind of cool.
Wong.
Also, quick news here. There's not a lot to report other than the fact that during GamesIndustry.biz caught during the financial reports of Starbreeze Studios, they caught that Starbreeze Studios admitted to making Payday 3, which people who are fans of the Payday series, and those who don't know actually, imagine the heists in GTA, and that's what Payday is. And Payday was doing it long before GTA 5 was. So it's a heist game where you get together with other friends,
and steal stuff.
Yeah, and
That's so rad, dude.
There's some kind of bank level context, and you have to look at like what the various security and how you're gonna go about breaking this bank in and doing a heist essentially with masks on and everything. And that's pretty cool. And so Payday 3 is being made. They did not announce a date that it'll be released. They said essentially it'll be done when it's done, and they're going to take their time to make the best product possible, which I think is a good stance to have. You don't want them in a hurry. You want them to make a great Payday 3. Moving on. Did you guys have any other news?
Nope.
Then one little small piece of news. I just ran into this, on the internet, as most of us do. I just thought it was a cool thing I saw. It's called Retro Blocks. One word. Retro, BLOX. And it's a modular console. So you have this console, and parts of it come out and to be replaced with other parts, so it can be transformed into other consoles.
It's begun.
Right. So this modular console can be transformed into a Super Nintendo, into an NES.
It's beginning.
It can be transformed into a Sega CD or a PlayStation 1.
What about a Dreamcast?
TurboGrafx 16. Well, no, this is the logic. Right now, it has a certain limited scope. There's probably about 8 consoles it can turn into, is my guess based on the news I read. But they can keep releasing more modules
gonna be
to
so
keep
sick.
expanding it. So it can be the everything
This
console.
is going to be incredible. This is the way of technology. Pretty soon phones are going to do this. Pretty soon glasses are going to
soon?
do
They have the phone out already that has the attachments on the back. You could put like a big camera on.
Yeah, but I mean, it is going to get better. It's going to get more streamlined.
It's going to be more than just one piece you can replace.
Yeah.
It's going to be more like that Google Arrow. Is that what?
I got a welder. We can replace all of it. Weld it onto your phone.
Well,
It's a phone gun.
yeah.
Knife wrench.
Also, not big news, but I thought I'd mention it. It turns out that leaked Nintendo Switch that was getting videos showing the UI, those were stolen. So they were stolen and then sold. And Nintendo, I mean, we don't know exactly what happened, but the guy admitted to giving it back to Nintendo. So
Thanks, Obama.
They must have dropped some lawyers on him and quietly took it back with their lawyer force, is my guess. But yeah. So that's the news, really. Thanks for watching.
News, the news, it's the news.
If you found this to be insightful or useful to you, please like and subscribe and share. And find out what?
Even if you didn't, do us a favor. Don't be a jerk. Like, subscribe, and share.
Yeah, we could really use it.
All right, come on, man.
I'm tired of crying.
But mainly, man.
Yeah, that'd be great. Also, find in the description like various links, and including our Twitter and Twitch. If that's one of us, we don't have a Twitch person anymore. He who shall not be named has twitched away. But yeah, okay. Well, have a great day.
Big gulps, huh?